Chapter 146. The gigolo wants to settle scores in his sleep. Biming felt that his limbs were tightly wrapped by an 8-clawed demonic fish. He was suddenly startled awake. Biming opened his eyes, and could not help but be in a trance. Although he did not light a candle, the moon was very bright that night, and the room was well lit. He saw Yin Chujio resting one arm on his chest and one leg on his leg. She was sleeping soundly. Saliva dripped from the corner of her mouth, and she smacked her lips from time to time. The corner of Biming's eyes twitched and he said in a low voice, "So ugly." Biming glanced at the handkerchief wrapped around Yin Chujio's arm. There were faint traces of blood on it, and he immediately figured the whole story. Biming's heart felt warm. The anger from before instantly dissipated. The black thing still cares about me. Those words from before must have been angry words. I will not lower myself to her level. Biming carefully moved Yin Chujio's arms and legs away, and then stretched out his arms to wrap them around Yin Chujio's waist. He raised his eyebrows slightly. Black thing, seeing that you're treating my injuries, I'll reluctantly hug you. Black thing is really too thin, she should be well nourished. This thought flashed through Biming's mind before he fell asleep. Wake up! Wake up! Let's go to work! Along with the sound of the bell, Old Huang's energetic voice sounded. Yin Chujio frowned and mumbled, "It's so annoying. I have to wake up so early every day." Looking at the handsome face in front of her, Yin Chujio almost choked on her own saliva. Some scenes from the day before flashed through Yin Chujio's mind quickly. Then, her gaze fell on Biming's arm, who was holding onto her waist. Yin Chujio carefully shouted, "Prince Charming? Prince Charming." This guy had long forgotten what she said yesterday. For her life, not only would she call him Prince Charming, she could even call him Ancestor. Biming did not react at all. He even lifted one of his legs and put it on Yin Chujio's body. Yin Chujio was so angry that she gritted her teeth. She really wanted to kick this gigolo down, but she did not dare. "Prince Charming? Prince Charming?" Yin Chujio called out a few more times, but Biming still did not respond. Yin Chujio could only rely on her courage to carefully move Biming's arm down, and then move her leg down again. Just when she was relieved, Biming stretched out his arm again, and wrapped it around Yin Chujio's waist. Yin Chujio could only carefully move away again, but she did not expect Biming to press his leg up on her again. After a few times, Yin Chujio was furious. This gigolo must have done it on purpose. Even if he was a dead man, he should have woken up by then. Yin Chujio rolled her eyes and said sneakily, "Forget it. At worst, I just won't go to work. I can't let go of such a good opportunity today. TSK, this body of my Prince Charming is really too fantastic. I didn't get to see enough last time. This time I can take off his clothes and have a good look." Yin Chujio stretched out her claws to take off Biming's clothes. Biming's eyelashes trembled. He opened his eyes and said in astonishment, "Black thing? How did you climb onto my bed? Get out." "Prince Charming, you're wrong. I almost died from blood loss last night because of you. You don't even thank me and want me to get out? You won't have any friends like this." Yin Chujio pointed at her left arm. "Died because of you? If you didn't make me so angry that I vomited blood, why would I faint?" Biming recalled what happened last night and frowned. Yin Chujio almost gave herself a big slap. It was over. The gigolo was going to get even. Biming sat up and stared at Yin Chujio gloomily. "You said I was a gigolo yesterday? And you said I was worthless and shameless? And you asked me to get lost?" Chapter 147. Children's words carry no harm. Yin Chujio laughed dryly. "Prince Charming, children's words carry no harm." The corner of Biming's eyes twitched. "Children's words? You are really thick-skinned." "That's right, I'm still young. Of course, what I said is considered children's words." Yin Chujio nonchalantly pretended to be young. A 14-year-old was a proper teenager in modern times. Biming originally did not intend to pursue the matter from the previous night. Seeing Yin Chujio's gag, he took the opportunity and said, "This venerable self is magnanimous, and will spare you this time. If there's a next time, this venerable self will not spare you." Yin Chujio heaved a sigh of relief in her heart and said fawningly, A male god is indeed a male god. I'm going to go to work now. When you leave, close the courtyard door properly. Be careful not to be discovered. The corners of Di Baiming's mouth curled up, and he lay back on the pillow. Who said I'm leaving? I'm going to stay in the Linghua faction for a period of time. Although your house is small and shabby, it doesn't attract any attention. I'll just stay here for now. What? You're not leaving? Yin Chuzhou cried out, and almost jumped up from the bed. What? Don't you welcome me? Di Baiming stared at Yin Chuzhou. Yin Chuzhou forced a smile. No. Why wouldn't I? I can't wait to see you every day. I'm too happy. Yes, I'm too excited. That's good. If you don't welcome me, just say it. I won't stay. Yin Chuzhou cursed in her heart. Damn it, do I dare to say it? If I do, this damn gigolo would strangle me to death. Then, Prince Charming, you take care of your own safety. I'll go to work now. Yin Chuzhou climbed out of bed and put on her shoes as she said carefully, This is for you. Don't eat the thing that bird gave you. Di Baiming took out a fruit from his storage ring. Yin Chuzhou's eyes lit up. It was the same kind of spiritual fruit that she ate last time. She immediately beamed and said, Thank you, Prince Charming. You're too kind. Yin Chuzhou ate the fruit in a few bites and hopped out of the house. When she was outside, Yin Chuzhou only remembered the last sentence that Di Baiming had just said. Bird. A bird gave her something? Fuck. The gigolo's mouth was too mean. He meant that Feng Ming was a bird. No wonder senior brother Feng Ming fell for no reason yesterday. It was the gigolo's doing. Yin Chuzhou shook her head. This gigolo was having a seizure. He gave her cultivation techniques and fruits when he was happy, and wanted to kill her when he was unhappy. What a lunatic. And Feng and an Yin saw Yin Chuzhou coming out and came over to salute. Yin Chuzhou curled her lips and threw the fruit core away. Forget it. I'm not worthy of your salute. Yesterday, you even threatened me with the Yun family. And Feng chuckled. Miss Jiu, things are urgent. I was also anxious because I was afraid that you would regret it in the future if you acted rashly. Our esteemed sir is a man who is hard to find in this universe. Don't lose him. Hide well and don't drag me into it. It wasn't easy for me to enter the Spirit Radiance sect. I don't want to be chased out the moment I enter. Yin Chuzhou thought to herself. Hard to find in the universe. I don't want him even if you gave him to me for free. What the heck? He's mental. And Feng said proudly, Miss Jiu, don't worry about this. Unless the Spirit Radiance sect master and elders pay attention to this courtyard, there won't be any problems. That's good. I'm going to work now. You guys watch the house for me obediently. Yin Chuzhou put her hands behind her back and walked away in a smug manner. Humph. She would just take it as having 3 house dogs. Ha ha ha. Chapter 148. Men and women dining together is not tiring. When Yin Chuzhou arrived at the dining hall, Yin Chu immediately came over and asked in a low voice, Little Jiu, how's your master? He's fine. He's already gone. My master likes to be mysterious. It wasn't a serious injury in the first place. Yin Chuzhou said nonchalantly. When Yin Chu heard this, she was finally relieved. She returned to her post and began to wash the vegetables. After a few days, Yin Chuzhou had become very familiar with the people in the big kitchen, especially the few people in charge of the fire. Seeing that Yin Chuzhou was young, they let her take charge of only one pit. Yin Chuzhou slowly started the fire. She was thinking that her house would be occupied by the gigolo. For the next few days, she would go to Fifth Sister and the others to take turns living there. She did not believe that the gigolo would have the nerve to try and force her back. Yes, that's right. Let's do it. After finishing work that day, Yin Chuzhou held Yin Chua's arm and said sweetly, Fifth Sister, I'll sleep over with you today. Yin Chu also wanted to ask Yin Chuzhou about her master in detail, so she agreed readily. Yin Chuzhou thought proudly in her heart, Gigolo, you can be my watchdog. Humph. I can't afford to fight and hide. Just as Yin Chuzhou arrived at Yin Chua's door, Little Black flapped its short wings and flew over. Master! Master! The gigolo said that if you don't go back within 15 minutes, he will smash this row of houses into pieces. Yin Chuzhou gritted her teeth in anger. Damn gigolo. Alright, you were the one who told me to go back. Don't regret it when the time comes. Fifth sister, I've thought about it. I think I'd better go back to my own place. I'll come back to your place another day. Yin Chua sighed. All right. Truly acting like a child. Always thinking out loud. Yin Chujo thought to herself, fifth sister. It's not that I'm always thinking out loud. It's that damn gigolo who's always thinking out loud. Yin Chujo thought of an idea as she walked. She would definitely torture the gigolo. Yin Chujo did not knock on the door and entered the house casually. She saw that the broken pieces of the original table in the house were gone, and a brand new table was placed on it. There were 8 dishes on it, and Di Biming was eating slowly with his chopsticks. The 8 dishes were all delicious. Yin Chujo immediately forgot about the idea she had previously thought of. She said shamelessly, Idol, do you feel lonely and cold eating alone? Di Biming looked at her and said, Go out and call An Feng and An Yin to come in and eat with me. Yin Chujia's face stiffened, and she rubbed her hands with a dry smile. Idle, as the saying goes, men and women go together. It's not tiring to eat. Let me accompany you. Don't call on them. They still need to be on guard. Men and women go together, and it was not tiring to eat. Di Biming almost spat out the rice in his mouth. Di Biming coughed dryly. You? I feel like I don't have the appetite to eat after seeing you. Yin Chujio was so angry that she rolled her eyes. Fuck. You fucking see that I don't have the appetite. So why did you call me back so eagerly? This gigolo really doesn't have any good intentions. He is torturing me with delicious food. Di Biming saw that Yin Chujio was so angry that she was twitching. The corner of his mouth curled up. Shouldn't you have already eaten your dinner at the big kitchen? Can you still eat? Yin Chujio's eyes lit up. Yes, I can. I'm not full to begin with. Okay, then let's eat together. Yin Chujio immediately smiled like a flower. Prince Charming, you're such a good person. Di Biming took out a pair of bowls and chopsticks from his storage ring and handed it to Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio decided to scrap the previous bad idea. There was still something to be said for a gigolo. Chapter 149. Indeed, a nouveau riche Yin Chujio could not wait to pick up a piece of food and put it into her mouth. Then, her eyes narrowed into slits as she wolfed down the food. Di Biming put down his chopsticks after a few mouthfuls. Seeing that Yin Chujio was enjoying the food, the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. If he continued to feed the black thing like this, it would definitely gain weight. When the time came, he would not have to hug it anymore. Yin Chujio did not know about Di Biming's fattening up plan. The taste of the meal was really too good. It was 100 times better than the food cooked in the big kitchen. In the end, when she could not eat anymore, she reluctantly put down her chopsticks. At that moment, she was thinking, sigh, it would be great if I could use the storage bag publicly. Then I could save these leftovers for tomorrow's meal. Di Biming saw that Yin Chujio had finished eating. He waved his hand, and the leftovers on the table disappeared. Then, there was an exquisite small teapot and 2 small teacups on the table. Prince Charming, how did you know that I was thirsty? You're so considerate. You're the most generous person that I've ever met. Yin Chujio had food and drink, and her small mouth was full of compliments. Di Biming barely managed to control the corner of his mouth that kept rising. He nodded lightly, and began to savor the tea. Yin Chujio was like a cow chewing on a peony. She tried the tea to see that it was not hot, and drank it in one gulp. Then she poured herself 1 cup after another. After pouring a few cups, Yin Chujio's eyes lit up. Prince Charming, how can your teapot be so good at storing tea? After pouring so many cups, the flavor of the tea is still so robust. Di Biming saw that Yin Chujio's eyes were sparkling, and the little tail on the back of her head was trembling. His heart inexplicably felt weak. He smiled and said, This is the heaven and earth teapot. It actually has a big space cloaked in this small item. A rich man. Indeed a rich man. Too rich. Yin Chujio said enviously. Prince Charming, you're really too rich. Not only do you have a storage ring, you even have a teapot that can store things. Sigh, unlike me, I have a low-level broken storage bag that I can't use publicly. Di Biming raised his eyebrows. Why can't you use it publicly? Prince Charming, didn't you tell me? I'm at level 3 of the spirit cultivator realm. I can't let anyone know that I can release my spiritual power. I remember everything you said. That's why I didn't dare to say that I can use my storage bag. So I left it with my fourth brother. Yin Chujio seamlessly expressed her loyalty. As expected, when Di Biming heard that Yin Chujio was so obedient, his mood improved. He thought for a while, then took out a small ring from his storage ring and handed it to Yin Chujio. This ring is the same as my storage ring. It can be hidden according to the master's wishes. Drop your blood in to refine it. Before Di Biming finished his sentence, Yin Chujio snatched the ring away. She was no longer afraid of pain. She bit her middle finger with her little white teeth and dripped her blood on the ring. Ha ha ha. You can really hide things in here. My Prince Charming, you're so cute. I love you so much. Yin Chujio was jumping up and down in joy. Now she liked Di Biming 100 times more. Di Biming looked at Yin Chujio's lively appearance. The corners of his mouth curled up, and his eyes were full of love. My Prince Charming, you're so good to me. I can't repay you. In the future, you can drink my blood as much as you want, as long as you don't drink me to death. Yin Chujio said with a smile. When Di Biming heard Yin Chujio's words, he felt inexplicably uncomfortable in his heart. Did you think I gave you something just to drink your blood? Di Biming's face sank immediately. Get out. I want to cultivate. Chapter 150. Liars will be struck by lightning. Yin Chujio was stunned for a moment before she left the house in a huff. Crazy. He really is crazy. A second ago it was still spring, but the next second, it's ice and snow. To think that I thought you weren't bad. Turns out you're still crazy. The more Yin Chujio thought about it, the angrier she got. She simply squatted on the ground and used a tree branch to write and draw. Little Black saw that Di Biming did not come out, so it flew down from the tree and landed beside Yin Chujio. When it saw the things on the ground, its small eyes blinked. Master, your resentment is so deep. Yin Chujio drew a small person on the ground and poked it with a tree branch. As she poked, she cursed softly. Gigolo. Bastard. Gigolo. You don't know how to appreciate a good person. Gigolo. You're crazy. Gigolo. I'll stab you to death. And Feng and An hid at the side and looked at each other. Neither of them dared to come out. It seemed that the ninth miss was very angry. They did not know what His Majesty was trying to do. Since he liked her, why did he always make her angry? After poking a few deep pits on the ground, Yin Chujio's mood improved a little. She decided not to lower herself to the level of a gigolo. Besides, being angry was to punish herself with other people's mistakes. She was not that stupid. Yin Chujio accidentally caught a glimpse of the spirit fruit core that was thrown away in the morning. Her heart skipped a beat. The taste of the fruit was too good. The gigolo might not give it to her again in the future. She might as well plant this fruit core, in case it could grow into a fruit tree. Then would she not always have a fruit to eat? Ha! She was really too smart. Yin Chujio did what she said. She found a sunny place, took a small stick, and made a small hole, burying the fruit core inside. Miss Gio, that's a Hundun fruit. The conditions for its growth are very harsh. Our venerable one searched for a long time before he found one. Even if you plant it, it won't sprout. And Feng saw that Yin Chujio's anger was almost gone, so he dared to come over and talk to her. How would you know if you don't try? Maybe this fruit core thinks my place is good. Besides, I'm just digging a pit and watering it. It doesn't add anything. If it really grows out, that would be even better. Yin Chujio said indifferently. Yin Chujio and Anfeng chatted casually. Di Biming was so angry that he gritted his teeth. After Di Biming chased Yin Chujio out, he was inexplicably annoyed. There was no way for him to cultivate. Now, seeing Yin Chujio and Anfeng chatting and laughing, he was so angry that he wanted to hit his head against the wall. Anfeng, are you very free? Di Biming pushed the door open and stared at Anfeng gloomily. Anfeng shivered and instantly understood that he was in trouble. He quickly said, Your Excellency, I remember now. I still have many things to do. I'll take my leave. Anfeng quickly disappeared from Di Biming and Yin Chujio's sight. What a joke. If he did not leave now, His Excellency would definitely throw him to the 1,000 feet deep abyss. Di Biming walked to the place where Yin Chujio drew the villain. Black thing, who are you drawing? It's you, it's you, it's you. However, Yun Chujio only dared to think that in her heart, but she said, it's the manager of our kitchen. He's the worst. He'll seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Sooner or later, I'll teach him a good lesson. Di Biming felt that there was something wrong with Yun Chujio's words. He felt like she was pointing at a mulberry tree and cursing a locust tree. He stared at Yun Chujio without blinking. Yun Chujio was a little scared by his stare, and she cursed in her heart. Why was he staring at me like a dead fish? Di Biming snorted. Black thing, if I find out that you lied to me, I will not forgive you. Prince Charming, I will not lie to you. If one lies, one will be struck by lightning. The villain in Yun Chujio's heart was flipping her middle finger. Gigolo, I lied to you. You're the one who started it. With a crack, a purple lightning bolt fell from the sky and struck Yun Chujio. Chapter 151. The small flame was suppressed once again. Yun Chujio was completely dumbfounded. She just said it casually. Why did this damn little mudfish match her with such an apt punishment? This damn little purple mudfish did not come earlier or later. But it just had to strike her at this time, so it must be on purpose. It was really detestable. This purple lightning bolt was only as thick as a pinky finger, so Yun Chujio absorbed it without any pressure, then laughed dryly at Di Biming. Coincidence? This is completely a coincidence. Di Biming snorted and glared at Yun Chujio. Then he turned around and entered the house. Yun Chujio pointed her middle finger at the small piece of dark cloud in the sky. Little mudfish, you want to fight with me? If you have the ability, then continue to attack me. The dark cloud rumbled. Yun Chujio thought that it would continue to strike her. She did not expect the dark cloud to disappear in a flash. Yun Chujio pouted. So you're a coward. You have no courage at all, and you are far inferior to me. A person must have courage and courage to live. Black thing, get in here. Yep, coming. Well, there was a time, place, and situation to show valor and courage. Yun Chujio sneaked into the house and saw Di Biming sitting on a chair, with a brush, ink, paper, and inkstone on the table. Yun Chujio immediately had a bad feeling. Come here. I have nothing to do. From today on, I'll teach you calligraphy. I'll make you lose your temper. Di Biming thought of Yun Chujio's dog-like handwriting, and came up with this idea. Yun Chujio grinned. Prince Charming, I don't want this, alright? I've been working the whole day and I'm exhausted. I can't even lift my arms. How will I have the strength to practice calligraphy? Di Biming sneered, then picked up the brush and wrote 3 words. This is my name. Don't sleep until you finish writing it 30 times. Yun Chujio rolled her eyes. Since she was asked to write it, then she would just write it absent-mindedly. If you don't write it seriously, then double it. If you don't, then continue to double it. Di Biming saw through Yun Chujio's thoughts at a glance, and said coldly. Yun Chujio had no choice but to start writing with a bitter face. As she wrote, she muttered, there are so many names out there, but he has to have the main character. It's so hard to write that character. My name is better. It's simple and easy to remember. What do you know? There's a fish in the northern sea. Its name is Kuan. My name has an illusion. What kind of stupid illusion is that? Doesn't it mean fish? Might as well call yourself Emperor Northern Fish. Black thing. Shut up. Oh, shut up then. No wonder he kept staring at her with dead fish eyes. It turned out he was a stinky fish. After writing for almost 4 hours, Yun Chujio felt that her wrist was about to break. Di Biming snorted. Let's call it a day. We'll continue tomorrow night. Yun Chujio angrily began to wash up. Then, she took off her coat and lay down in the middle of the bed. Her hands and feet were spread open. It was obvious that she did not want Di Biming to sleep on the bed. After Di Biming washed up, he saw Yun Chujio occupying the entire bed. He could not help but frown. Move deeper in the bed. This is my bed. Yun Chujio's little flame of resistance burned again. Di Biming snorted. Black thing, I'll count to 3. If you don't move, I'll let you sleep on the floor tonight. 1, 2, 3. Prince Charming, I'm afraid of this bed. Now that it's warm, come up. Yun Chujio obediently rolled to the side of the bed. The little flame was once again mercilessly suppressed. Chapter 152. What's mine is yours. Yin Chujia's heart was filled with tears. As expected, whoever played the strongest fist would have their way. Gigolo, just you wait. When I become stronger, I'll sleep on the bed and let you kneel on the ground and sing me a lullaby. Di Biming's lips curled up. He took off his coat and lay on the outer corner of the bed. Yin Chujia's eyes rolled around, and she had another idea. Prince Charming, as the saying goes, men and women should not be intimate. It's not good for us to sleep on the same bed, right? Well, what you said makes sense. In that case, you can sleep on the ground. Ah, ha ha ha, I'm joking. I'm still young, so I can't be considered a woman. There's no need to avoid suspicion. Di Biming raised his eyebrows. Have you forgotten? There's another saying that men and women have different seats at the age of 7. So for your reputation, you'd better sleep on the ground. Why do I need to sleep on the ground and not you? Yin Chujio shouted very loudly in the first half of her sentence. The second half of her sentence became quieter and quieter under Di Biming's gaze. Like the chirping of a mosquito. Di Biming retracted his gaze and said lightly, because it's your reputation that's bad, not mine. Humph. This is my bed. Yin Chujio deliberately emphasized the word my. Oh, since you want to be calculative, then return the ring that I gave you to me, as well as the cultivation technique, the spirit fruit, the food and… Prince Charming, I'm just joking. Isn't mine yours? It's getting late, let's go to bed early. Ah, I'm so sleepy I'm falling asleep. Yin Chujio closed her eyes and covered her head with the quilt, pretending to snore. Di Biming watched Yin Chujio shrink into the quilt like a little quail, and could not help but laugh. He waved his hand and extinguished the candle. Yin Chujio saw that Di Biming had stopped talking, so she secretly stuck her head out. Damn, that was close. If she were to lose a storage ring because of a bed, it would be a huge loss. If they slept together, so be it. It was not like they had never slept together before. Although the gigolo was despicable, he did not look like a pervert. Moreover, she looked so dry. He probably would not be able to bring himself to bite her. After Yin Chujio comforted herself, she fell asleep very quickly. On the other hand, Di Biming could not fall asleep no matter how hard he tried. Hence, he turned his body to look at Yin Chujio's sweet sleeping face in a daze. Ha! The black thing seemed to be much fairer than when he first saw it. Actually, the black thing was not that ugly. Her facial features were quite exquisite. If she was fairer, it would still be acceptable. Di Biming looked at it, and could not help but reach out to touch Yin Chujio's face. It was quite smooth. Yin Chujio felt something on her face in her sleep. She lifted her arm and pushed it. Then she turned around and fell asleep. Di Biming's face turned hot, and he retracted his hand. Black thing. Do you think that this venerable self is willing to touch you? I'm just curious. Yes, just curious. Di Biming turned around and faced Yin Chujio's back. He thought about it for a while before falling asleep. However, when they fell asleep, both of them turned around at the same time. Yin Chujio's head was in Di Biming's arms, and she slept soundly. The next morning, Yin Chujio opened her eyes again under Elder Huang's loud voice. Yin Chujio carefully moved Di Biming's hand away from her waist. She stretched and got off the bed. After washing up, she hopped off to work. After Yin Chujio left, Di Biming suddenly sat up. Why would I dream of that black thing? And dream about? How is this possible? It must be because my true self had been injured recently, and was not at ease. Yes, that must be the case. Chapter 153. Wicked thief. Yin Chujio did not know of Di Biming's dilemma. He was thinking about little Jiao. Now that she had a storage ring, she would definitely plunder more good things, and put them in the ring. Thus the big kitchen suffered. That's strange. I just steamed 20 baskets of dumplings. Why are there 2 baskets missing? Why are there 3 pots missing from the steamed dumplings? There were 20 pots of stewed beef. Why are there only 16 pots left? Yin Chujio saw that things seemed to be getting out of hand, so she finally stopped. She followed the crowd and scolded the wicked thief for stealing the food. Elder Huang searched for a long time, but still could not find the reason, so he could only let it go. Perhaps everyone remembered it wrongly. Yin Chujio, go and send this storage bag to the alchemy room. Inside is the food senior brother Zhangji asked for. You must hand it to him personally. Manager Ding handed a storage bag to Yin Chujio. Bei Yuan happened to be at the side, so he said when he saw this, Manager Ding, little Jiu doesn't have the spiritual power, so she walks too slow. It's better for me to go. Manager Ding's face darkened. Bei Yuan, why can't I even order a new handyman to do some tasks? Besides, senior brother Zhang Ji isn't in a hurry. As long as it arrives today, it's fine. Yin Chujio quickly said, It's fine. Oh, go. I haven't been to the alchemy room yet, so we'll just take it as getting to know the area. Bei Yuan had no choice but to call Yin Chujio to the side and whispered, The alchemy room is different from other places. Even the elders aren't willing to offend the people there. You must be careful. Yin Chujio nodded and left the big kitchen. Manager Ding looked at Yin Chujio's back, and a trace of sternness flashed through his eyes. Stinky girl, you're dead meat this time. Yin Chujio was clever. She naturally guessed that Manager Ding had bad intentions. However, there was no reason to take precautions. She wanted to see what kind of great gift he had prepared for her. Yin Chujio thought about it, and did not let Little Black follow her. If they accused Little Black of stealing the pills, she would not be able to justify it. Yin Chujio held her storage bag, and hopped to the alchemy room. Pills were extremely important to a sect, so the alchemy room was located near the top of Middle Peak. The spiritual energy there was very rich, and it was also beneficial to the alchemist's cultivation. Along the way she met many disciples. As most of them had been to the cafeteria, Yin Chujio greeted them as if they were friends. Ah, senior brother, you're even more handsome than a few days ago. Senior sister, I almost didn't recognize you after not seeing you for a few days. You've become more beautiful again. Senior sister, this acupuncture dress you're wearing really suits your skin color. You're like a fairy. Everyone liked to hear good things. When they saw how well Yin Chujio spoke, they naturally replied as well. Yin Chujio said that she had been sent by Manager Ding to the pill refining room to deliver something to senior brother Zhang Ji. Yin Chujio noticed that there were a few people who heard her, and their eyes flickered. When Yin Chujio saw this, she became curious and intentionally or otherwise started conversing even more. Little girl, let me tell you. I accidentally found out that senior brother Zhang Ji is related to Lu Qingzhen, who was expelled from the sect a few days ago. Yeah, I also heard that senior brother Zhang Ji is Lu Qingzhen's cousin. You should be careful. Senior brother Zhang Ji is highly regarded by Elder Qi of the pill refining room. He is about to be accepted as a personal disciple. He is currently in the limelight. You must not offend him. After Yin Chujio thanked everyone, she was on her way up the mountain again. She would not offend anyone if they did not offend her. It was fine if Zhang Ji did not offend her. However, if he was up to no good, regardless of whether he was a personal disciple or not, she had to get rid of him. Chapter 154. Strange thoughts. After walking for more than 2 hours, Yin Chujio finally saw the pill refining room. Before she even got close to the pill refining room, 2 servants shouted, "Stop! This is an important place for pill refining. No one is allowed to enter." Yin Chujio said with a smile, "Thank you for your hard work, senior brothers. I'm from the big kitchen. Manager Ding of the Ding Army asked me to deliver food to senior brother Zhang Ji." One of the servants looked at Yin Chujio and said, "Are you Yin Chujio? You look exactly like the rumors. Go in and come back quickly." Yin Chujio thanked him and asked about the alchemy room where Zhang Ji was. Then she headed to the alchemy room. As soon as she entered the alchemy room, she smelled the rich aroma of pills. Yin Chujio had always had a different way of thinking. The first thought that flashed through her mind at that moment was that the smell was similar to the taste of toffee. It was caramelized and fragrant. It had been a long time since she had eaten sugar. Yin Chujio came to the number 7 alchemy room, where Zhang Ji was. She said respectfully at the door, "Senior brother Zhang, I'm from the big kitchen. Manager Ding asked me to bring you some food. Come in." A man's voice came from inside. Yin Chujio pushed the door open, and a wave of hot air mixed with the medicinal aroma assaulted her face. A man was refining pills with his back facing her. Yin Chujio watched the man's movements with curiosity. The man kept forming seals and adding medicinal herbs into the furnace. The medicinal fragrance in the furnace became stronger and stronger. Finally, the man stopped and took out 6 pills from the furnace and placed them on a jade plate to cool down. Yun Chujio looked at the 6 pills on the jade plate and suddenly had the thought of swallowing all the pills into her stomach. The thought was so strong that Yun Chujio was in a daze. The man turned around and looked at Yun Chujio. "Did Manager Ding send you here?" The man saw that Yun Chujio was stunned and did not reply. A trace of pride flashed in his eyes, and he raised his voice and asked again. Yun Chujio finally came to her senses. She nodded and handed the storage bag forward. "Senior brother Zhang, Manager Ding asked me to give this to you." Zhang Ji took the storage bag and opened it to take a look. He then turned around to search on the shelf. He then took out a white porcelain bottle and handed it to Yun Chujio. "Bring this back to Manager Ding." Yun Chujio nodded in agreement and turned around to leave. She then obediently closed the door and left the alchemy room. Zhang Ji could not help but sneer. Qingzhen was really a good-for-nothing. He had actually allowed such a dark girl to enter Spirit Radiance sect. However, that dark girl had already inhaled the intoxication for 3 days. In less than 3 days, she would definitely die silently in her sleep. If an unimportant handyman died, then so be it. No one would pay attention to it. He could be considered to have avenged Qingzhen. As for the other 6, there were plenty of opportunities to take care of them. Why was one of the spirit-gathering pills that he had just refined missing? The black girl had stolen it? No way. She did not have any spiritual power, so it was impossible for her to do anything right under his nose. Perhaps he had remembered wrongly? He refined 5 pills just now. Yun Chujio walked out of the pill refining room, feeling a little puzzled. Strange. Zhang Ji did not make things difficult for her, nor did he frame her. However, that Zhang Ji's eyes were clearly filled with hatred for her. And there was even a hint of complacency. Could he have done something? An alchemist? Could it be that he had poisoned her? Yun Chujio recalled the fragrance she smelled when she pushed the door open. She thought to herself, "Oh no, I must have been tricked. What should I do?" Yun Chujio recalled the pill that she had accidentally stolen in the pill room. At that time, she did not know why she wanted to swallow those pills so badly. If not for her strong will, she might have swallowed those pills on the spot. Chapter 155. A blessing in disguise. As Yun Chujio thought of this, she turned to a small path nearby and took out the pill that she had stolen from her storage ring. Just as she was about to take a closer look, a huge suction force suddenly came from her mouth. The pill entered Yun Chujio's stomach with a whoosh. Yun Chujio was shocked. She coughed and used her fingers to pick at it. She even tried to stand on her head. Unfortunately, it was useless. The pill disappeared mysteriously. Yun Chujio wanted to cry, but she had no tears. Not only was she poisoned, but she also had a strange disease. She did not know what kind of pill she swallowed. If it was poison, she would definitely be finished. Yun Chujio went back to the kitchen with her head dropped. She handed the porcelain bottle to Manager Ding. Then, she pretended to be sick with Elder Huang and went back to the dormitory with a sad face. Di Baiming saw that Yun Chujio had returned and asked in puzzlement, "Why are you back?" Yun Chujio was not in the mood to please him at the moment. She said in a muffled voice, "This is my house. If I want to come back, I will come back." Di Baiming was about to lose his temper, but he saw Yun Chujio's small shoulders twitching. It was obvious that she was crying. He could not help but feel a little flustered. "I'm just asking you. I didn't say anything. Why are you crying?" When Yun Chujio heard Di Baiming's question, she immediately had a way to vent her emotions. She could not help but start to wail loudly. "Sob, I'm going to die. I still have many wishes that haven't been fulfilled. I'm going to die. I'm so miserable. Sob. Di Baiming was shocked. When he saw Yun Chujio crying her eyes out, it was obvious that she was really sad. "Black thing, what's going on? I'm here. You won't die." Sob, I was poisoned and have strange disease. If I die, you can keep my blood and drink it in the future. You can keep it in a big pot or something. Nonsense. Who poisoned you? They're simply courting death. Di Baiming's eyebrows stood up. I can't even bear to kill the black thing. Who is the one courting death? Yun Chujio used Di Baiming's clothes to wipe away her tears and snot. She sobbed as she told him about the incident. Di Baiming had long forgotten about the misophobia. He hurriedly grabbed Yun Chujio's right wrist and stretched it out, then frowned. 3 days of drunkenness? What kind of poison is 3 days of drunkenness? Why does it sound like a wine name? And it's the kind of good old wine? Yun Chujio's eyes lit up. 3 days of drunkenness is a kind of deadly poison. The person who inhales it will die silently in his sleep within 3 days. Di Baiming almost fainted from anger. It was already so late, and she was still thinking about eating and drinking. What? Then I only have 3 days to live? It must be that Zhang Ji who poisoned me. Damn it. I'll go and find him now. If he doesn't give me the antidote, I'll use lightning to strike him. Yun Chujio was also frightened just now. Now that she had recovered from her shock, she immediately regained her domineering aura. Wait, Di Baiming pressed on Yun Chujio's wrist with a shocked expression. It was obvious that he had suffered a huge impact. Isn't it 3 days of drunkenness? Is it 1 day of drunkenness? Am I going to choke on my farts today? Then hurry up and let go of me. I have to find that bastard to get the antidote. Yun Chujio was anxious. This girl cherished her life the most and hated Zhang Ji the most. Yes, your situation is a little special. Di Baiming felt that Yun Chujio was a freak. Why were all the things that happened to her so unbelievable? How is it special? Although you were intoxicated for 3 days, the intoxication of these 3 days disappeared quickly for some reason. It even turned into the power of lightning strangely. Di Baiming felt that he was talking nonsense, however. This was something that really happened in Yun Chujio's body. Chapter 156. Is all the grass fault? What? You mean to say that the so-called 3-day intoxication not only didn't kill me, but it's good for me? Yun Chujio's eyes widened, obviously unable to accept it. From your pulse it seems so. Look inside your dantian. Yun Chujio immediately sat cross-legged on the bed and began to look inwardly. Then she cried. The little grass in her dantian was holding a medicinal pill with 2 leaves and munching on it. Damn it! Whose dantian could grow grass? Who had ever seen grass with a mouth? Sun sob. It was her. It was her. That grass might have noticed Yun Chujio's peeping, and even shook itself proudly. Yun Chujio also noticed that there were threads of black gas in her meridians that were rapidly gathering toward her dantian, before finally being eaten by the grass. As for the power of lightning, it was slowly released by the grass. It was as if the amount of black gas and medicinal pills that were eaten would release the corresponding power of lightning. What the hell was this thing? Yun Chujio felt a wave of dizziness. She had no choice but to withdraw her spiritual sense. Then she sat on the bed in a daze. How is it? Did you see it? What happened? Di Baiming asked anxiously. There's grass growing in my dantian. Wait, what did you say? You said there's grass growing in your dantian? Di Baiming felt that there was something wrong with his ears. Yun Chujio nodded and said with a sad face. That damn grass used to swallow lightning, and now it's swallowing pills. Yun Chujio told Di Baiming everything. She did not know why she did not hide anything from Di Baiming. Di Baiming was stunned. There was grass growing in her dantian? That grass could swallow lightning? It could swallow pills? It could absorb poison? It could even release the power of lightning? This was unheard of. It was too unbelievable. Yun Chujio saw that Di Baiming did not speak, so she panicked. Am I really in a hopeless situation? Am I going to become the grass nourishment? I never thought that I, Yun Chujio, would die at the hands of grass. I can't die in peace. Di Baiming frowned. He paced back and forth in the room. Black thing, you don't have to worry too much. Even if that grass is harmful to you, it won't do anything to you for the time being. It should treat you as a host, and won't do anything to you until it's fully grown. There must be a way to get rid of it. Yun Chujio pouted. Well, it is what it is. However, even if I can't deal with that grass, I can still deal with that Zhang Ji. I won't forgive him. He actually wants to poison me, so I'll have to kill him sooner or later. Di Baiming's eyes deepened and he did not speak. The next morning, there was an explosion at Spirit Radiance sect. Did you hear? Zhang Ji from the alchemy room had his tendons and hamstrings cut off by someone. Not only that, I heard that his tongue was also cut off. I also heard that his cultivation was crippled. This is worse than death. Who did this? This person's cultivation must be very high. I heard that Elder Qi was so angry that he will do an extremely thorough investigation. This person is simply too audacious. Could it be a spy from another sect? It doesn't make sense. What's the purpose of a spy doing this? Zhang Ji is just an inner sect disciple. Then it should be a vendetta. Who would have such a huge grudge against Zhang Ji? Yin Chujiu blinked her eyes. Could it be that this was done by a gigolo? Chapter 157. I love you to death. Zhang Ji's tongue had been cut off, so he could not speak, and his tendons, and he was unable to write since his tendons were cut off. Therefore, Elder Qi had no choice but to call the relevant people over to interrogate them. Naturally, Yin Chujiu was also called over. Yin Chujiu had always been good at acting. She swaggered over, and when she was questioned, her answers were naturally airtight. Elder Qi felt that a little girl without spiritual power was indeed unable to do such a thing. After asking a few questions, he let Yin Chujiu go back. After finishing the work at night, Yin Chujiu went back to the courtyard. Prince Charming, you were the one who helped me clean up that Zhang Ji, right? Yin Chujiu asked Di Baiming with her starry eyes. Di Baiming was very proud in his heart, but he pretended to not care. I just don't like him. It has nothing to do with you. Prince Charming, I know you're venting your anger for me. You're such a good person. I love you so much. Yin Chujiu was so excited that she stood on her tiptoes and kissed Di Baiming on the cheek. Di Baiming's entire body seemed to be frozen. There was a loud bang in his head, like fireworks blooming in the sky. The soft touch seemed to be transmitted to his heart. Yin Chujiu jumped for a while and frowned. Prince Charming, that Elder Qi is currently investigating this. You won't pin it on me, right? Di Baiming finally came back to his senses and raised his eyebrows. Clearly, he felt that Yin Chujiu's question was a little unnecessary. Yin Chujiu had gotten her revenge, so she naturally would not bother Di Baiming about this. Her words of flattery kept jumping out. Di Baiming enjoyed it very much. When he was in a good mood, he took out some spirit fruits and pastries from his storage ring and gave them to Yin Chujiu. When Yin Chujiu saw the delicious food, she became even more obsequious. She almost wagged her tail. Di Baiming felt extremely refreshed and sweet. This feeling was even more wonderful than when his spiritual power had risen a level. I heard from the black thing that there was a manager Ding in the kitchen. Maybe an Yin should also take care of him? Di Baiming thought of this and asked Yin Chujiu. Black thing, do you need me to help you take care of that manager Ding? Yin Chujiu thought for a moment. No, I'll do it myself. I'll be fun. Di Baiming also felt that manager Ding was too weak. It was good to let her practice. The next day, when Yin Chujiu went to work, she noticed that manager Ding was looking at her with a probing gaze. When Yin Chujiu looked over, he avoided her gaze. Yin Chujiu jumped in front of him. Manager Ding, why are you always looking at me? Do you still want me to deliver something for you? Manager Ding did not know why, but he felt that Yin Chujiu was implying something. He waved his hand awkwardly. No need. You do what you need to do. Oh, if you need anything, just let me know. I'm happy to run errands for you. Yin Chujiu said with a smile. Seeing this, Manager Ding felt even more nervous. He gave a few perfunctory words and hurried out. The more Manager Ding thought about it, the more uneasy he felt. However, on second thought, Yin Chujiu did not have any spiritual power at all. How could she be the one who did it? He must have been thinking too much. This damn brat, she must be kicking him while he was down. You don't have to be so smug. There's only one more day before the effects of the 3-day intoxication kick in. Your time to die is up. However, after a few days, Yin Chujiu was still alive and kicking. There were no symptoms of poisoning at all. Could it be that Zhang Ji failed to poison her back then? Yes, that must be the case. Yin Chujiu could not have gotten the antidote for the 3-day intoxication. Even so, Manager Ding still felt a little uneasy. He felt that things would not be so simple. Chapter 158. I'm sick. Manager Ding was suspicious and restrained his actions. He did not look for Yin Chujiu and the others. Yin Chujiu was not in a hurry to make a move, and was prepared to find a suitable time to strike. That night, Yun Chujio had just returned to the dormitory when Di Biming said to her, "Black Thing, I need to go back. First, I need to take care of some things. Then, I need to find someone to ask about the condition of the grass in your body." After Di Biming finished speaking, he looked at Yun Chujio with anticipation. He did not expect Yun Chujio to indifferently reply, "Okay, go. Go. I'm exhausted. I need to lie down for a while." His poor excellency had played the scene several times. For example, she was reluctant to part with him, or she was crying and hugging him, and was reluctant to let him go. Or yes, Black Thing gave him a kiss. In an instant the beautiful scenes popped. Di Biming could only sigh in his heart. It was so stifling that he could not breathe. Di Biming was furious. He smashed the new table with one palm, and the things on it shattered all over the floor. A stack of rice paper written by Yun Chujio turned into paper scraps. Yun Chujio was shocked. "What are you doing?" Di Biming looked at Yun Chujio and gritted his teeth. "I'm sick." "What?" Yun Chujio was dumbfounded. Did this gigolo take the wrong medicine? Di Biming saw that Yun Chujio was still in a daze, and did not react. He was so angry that he flung his sleeves, and left just like that. This Black Thing was really heartless. She did not even have the slightest intention of missing him. And Ian could feel that the temperature in the surroundings had dropped by a few degrees. He sighed in his heart. It was over. The days that followed would be filled with suffering. He did not know how Miss Gio had offended His Excellency, that he became so angry. On the other hand, Yun Chujio was calm and collected. She shrugged her shoulders. This gigolo had not had a crazy fit for a long time. It seemed that it was that time of the month again. Yun Chujio rolled a few times on the bed. It was great that the gigolo had left. She could finally monopolize the bed. However, Yun Chujio could not fall asleep even after tossing and turning until midnight. She mumbled, "That's weird. Why isn't anyone fighting with me for territory? I'm not used to it. 1 gigolo, 2 gigolos, 3 gigolos." The next day, Yun Chujio went to the kitchen with 2 big dark circles under her eyes. "Little Gio, didn't sleep well yesterday. Are you feeling unwell?" Yun Chuo asked with concern when she saw Yun Chujio looking listless. Yun Chujio giggled. "No, I just had too much fun with Little Black. That's why I slept late." Little Black stared at her with its puzzized eyes with grievance on its face. This young master would not admit it. Yun Chuo asked a few more questions. Seeing that there was nothing unusual, she went to work. After breakfast, Elder Huang called Yun Chujio and the others over. "Today is the day of the elders' lecture. The 7 of you should go with Ho Tian." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "Elder Huang, let the other senior brothers go. We've just arrived. There will be plenty of opportunities in the future." Elder Huang smiled and said, "You little girl, you really know how to cause trouble. You guys go ahead. Next time, let someone else go." Seeing that Elder Huang had instructed so, Yun Chujio did not refuse. She followed Ho Tian and Yun Chuzi and rushed to Zhang Peak's lecture square. 2 hours later, the few of them arrived at the lecture square. Zhang Peak's lecture square was the same square that Yun Chujio and the others had been teleported to after passing the test. At that time, there were already many people gathered. Some were sitting on the ground while others were chatting softly. There was a particular order to the seating. The inner disciples sat at the front, followed by the outer disciples. The odd job workers could only sit at the back. Yun Chujio and the others found a corner and sat down. Chapter 159. How sleepy was she? Yun Chujio was afraid that others would suspect her, so she did not dare to use the hair growth pill. Hence, her hair was only an inch long, and was particularly eye-catching in the crowd. Yun Chujio was quite famous in the Spirit Radiance sect as of then. When they saw her going over, many people's gazes gathered over. Yun Chujio did not mind, and she even nodded at everyone with a smile. The crowd had obviously never seen such a friendly and thick-skinned person. It was hard for them to ridicule her. It's so uncomfortable to hold it in, isn't it? At that moment, a female disciple exclaimed in a low voice, "Senior Brother Feng Ming is here." "Ah, it's really Senior Brother Feng Ming. He's walking toward us. Quick, check if my hairpin is crooked. Darn it, If I had known that senior brother Feng Ming would come back, I would have worn that pink brocade shirt. Feng Ming turned a blind eye to those fiery gazes. He walked toward Yin Chujio and waved his hand elegantly. Junior sister little Jiao. Let's go, I'll bring you to sit in the front. You can hear better from the front. Yin Chujio was never a person who was afraid of trouble. She immediately jumped up and followed Feng Ming to the front. As a result, she received a basket of eyes filled with jealousy and envy. There were no hard and fast rules regarding the seating order. It was just a convention. Therefore, when Yin Chujio sat down, no one came to chase her away or anything like that. The inner sect disciples thought highly of themselves. When they saw Yin Chujio walking over, they all had disdainful looks, especially the few female disciples whose gazes were even more unfriendly. Yin Chujio secretly cursed in her heart. She did not expect senior brother so-called Bird to have such good luck in love. How thick-skinned. A servant actually came to our inner sect disciples area. That's right. She's also a trash without spiritual power. What can she understand? Today the one giving us the lecture is Elder Chi from Middle Peak. I heard that he's been in a very bad mood recently. Moreover, he loves to ask questions during the lecture. If he calls on Yin Chujio, tell me. Hee. When Feng Ming heard this, he was shocked. He did not know that it was Elder Chi's lecture that day. Elder Chi did have a habit of picking disciples to answer questions during the lecture. If he could not answer, he would be reprimanded. Junior sister little Jiao, why don't you go to the back? That Elder Chi is very serious. Feng Ming said in a low voice. Yin Chujio waved her hand carelessly and said to Feng Ming in a low voice, I've seen Elder Chi before. Other than not having good taste, everything else is fine. You don't have to worry. I'll just sit here. It's fine. Not having good taste. Where did that come from? Feng Ming shook his head. Seeing that Yin Chujio was determined to do so, he did not say anything else. Actually, Yin Chujio had discovered something interesting and was reluctant to go back. After a while, Elder Chi walked to the front with a gloomy face and sat down on the ground. Elder Chi's mood had been very bad the past few days. He had originally planned to take Zhang Ji as his personal disciple. But who would have thought that a person who was fine the day before would become a cripple overnight? What was even more depressing was that after a few days, there were no clues about the murderer at all. What was even more depressing was that he even found poisons and a few letters in Zhang Ji's storage bag. They were all indicating sinister deeds. Elder Chi's mood was very complicated. He was angry, disappointed, and a trace relieved. If it was not for Zhang Ji's accident, he would really have accepted such a heartless student who would just cause endless trouble in the future. That day, Elder Chi was explaining the 100 volumes of medicinal herbs, which was the basic knowledge of medicinal herbs. After a while, Elder Chi swept his gaze over the crows. Most of the people were listening seriously. Only the tan lass sitting in the front row had her face almost pressed against the stone slab. How sleepy was she? Chapter 160. How did you do it? Elder Chi frowned. He still had some impression of Yin Chujio. Wasn't this the tan girl who was called in for questioning a few days ago? You. Answer the difference between the purple wisdom grass and the purple hawk grass. Elder Chi pointed at Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio did not move at all. She sat there, watching attentively. Feng Ming poked Yin Chujio, and Yin Chujio was shocked. Just as she was about to ask Feng Ming what was wrong, Elder Chi got angry. Stand up. Are you here to listen to my lecture, or to sleep? Yin Chujio stood up and answered obediently. I'm here to listen to your lecture. Elder Chi became even angrier when he heard that. Since you're here to listen to my lecture, why is your head down? Yin Chujio was at a loss. Can't you keep your head down while listening to the lecture? Does one have to stare at you while listening to the lecture? This was the first time Elder Chi had met a student who dared to talk back to him. He was already holding his anger in his heart, but this time he exploded. You. Good. Then tell me what's the difference between purple wisdom grass and purple hawk grass? The people below began to discuss quietly. It's over. Yin Chujio has completely offended Elder Chi. That's right, she actually dared to go against Elder Chi. How audacious. I told you that Yin Chujio would do this to herself. Why did she sit in the front row for no reason? She's asking for it. Damn it. Let her be smug. Does she think that senior brother Feng Ming likes her? Senior brother Feng Ming must be trying to put her in her place. Yin Chuzi and the others were extremely worried. They stretched their necks and looked forward. Yin Chuzhou definitely could not answer. They hoped that Elder Qi would not punish Yin Chuzhou too harshly. Elder Qi saw that Yin Chuzhou did not speak and said coldly, "Humph. You can't answer me, right? Young people make mistakes but don't like to admit it. If you're doing this, although there's only one word difference between the purple wisdom grass and the purple hawk grass. The purple wisdom grass is in the middle grade of the black category, while the purple hawk grass is of a low grade from the yellow category. The difference between the two is very small. The purple wisdom grass has a thin red thread on the leaf veins, but the purple hawk grass does not. Elder Qi, am I right?" Yin Chuzhou tilted her head and looked at Elder Qi mischievously. Elder Qi choked back his words and his face turned red. "Humph. You must have previously known the difference between the two. I'll test you again." Yin Chuzhou blinked her eyes. "As long as it's the content that you've talked about today. I didn't have the chance to learn the knowledge of herbs before." "Humph. Of course, I'm asking about the content I taught you today. Tell me about the growth habits of the seven-leaf reed." Elder Qi thought that the seven-leaf reed was an uncommon spiritual herb, so he did not believe that this little girl had heard of it before. The seven-leaf reed mostly grows on the shores of hot springs that are rich in spiritual energy. The stalks stand upright and are more than 5 feet tall. The roots, stems, and leaves have ventilation tissue, which has the effect of stopping bleeding and detoxifying poison. Elder Qi, am I correct?" Yin Chuzhou said with a smile. Elder Qi clenched his teeth in anger. "Sit down. Some disciples shouldn't be complacent just because they know something. If their attitude in class isn't right, they should not attend my classes in the future." Yin Chuzhou acted as if she did not hear him. After sitting down, she still lowered her head and looked at a green stone slab, as if there were flowers on it. Elder Qi was so angry that his beard curled up. However, he did not have any other good ideas. He could only ask Yin Chuzhou to get up and answer questions every once in a while. However, Yin Chuzhou could answer them quickly and accurately each time. For hours later, Elder Qi glared at Yin Chuzhou and left in a huff. "Junior sister little Jiu, you're simply too awesome. How did you do it?" Feng Ming asked curiously. Chapter 161. Had a big secret. Yin Chuzhou was staring at the green stone slab in a daze. She said carelessly, "Didn't he already said it once? I'm just repeating it." Feng Ming was stunned at first, then he cried out in surprise. "What? What did you say?" Everyone's eyes were focused on Feng Ming. He instantly returned to his usual cold and aloof state, as if the scream just now was an illusion. At that time, Yin Chuzi and the others walked over and beckoned Yin Chuzhou back to the kitchen. She finally shifted her gaze away from the green stone slab and said to Ho Tian, "Manager Ho, please help me ask for half a day's leave from Elder Huang." Feng Ming also chimed in. "Yes, just say that I have a favor to ask of ninth junior sister." Ho Tian smiled and agreed, then left with Yin Chuzi and the others. "Junior sister Jiu, you can really remember everything you've heard? Also, what's so great about this broken green stone slab?" Feng Ming was extremely curious. Yin Chuzhou waved her hand at him and ignored him. She continued to focus her attention on the green stone slab. Feng Ming rubbed his nose in boredom and also lowered his head to look at the green stone slab. However, other than a bunch of meaningless patterns, he really could not see anything else. Feng Ming looked at it for a while and felt dizzy. He shook his head and sat at the side to meditate. The onlookers could not help but discuss among themselves when they saw Yin Chuzhou frowning and raising the corners of her mouth at times. "Is Yin Chuzhou crazy? What is she doing? I don't know. She has always looked abnormal. How can a girl's hair be that short?" A good-for-nothing without spiritual power naturally thinks differently from us. Maybe she thinks those patterns are beautiful. TSK. Those questions just now. How did that good-for-nothing answer all of them correctly? TSK. What's so strange about that? Isn't senior brother Feng Ming sitting next to her? It must be senior brother Feng Ming who helped her. Ah, what you said makes sense. Feng Ming curled his lips. What the hell was he helping? Not only did he not know the answers, even if he did, he would not dare to do anything under Elder Qi's watch. 2 hours passed. 4 hours passed. The number of people in the square decreased, but Yin Chujio still had her head down, although she had stared at a few different green stone slabs. Another 4 hours passed, and the sky gradually darkened. Yin Chujio was completely unaware. She continued to stare at the patterns on the stones under the moonlight. Feng Ming ended his meditation and saw that Yin Chujio was still staring at it. He asked worriedly, "Junior sister little Jio, are you okay?" Yin Chujio waved her hand and continued staring, as if she was possessed. Seeing this, Feng Ming had no choice but to take out a few buns from his storage bag and pass them to Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio could not resist eating as she stared at the green stone slab while eating the steamed buns. "Junior sister little Jio, it's getting late. I'll send you back first. If you're interested in the patterns on these, come back tomorrow." Yin Chujio finally raised her head and said sincerely to Feng Ming, "Senior brother Feng Ming, do me a favor and help me apply for another day off. I want to study these patterns properly." "Junior sister little Jio, are these patterns special?" Feng Jiu asked curiously. Although he had not known Yin Chujio for very long, he felt that this little girl was always able to do some unexpected things. There should be a big secret behind this. But I've only discovered a little clue. I need time to continue to study it and cannot stop, or else my train of thought will be cut off. Yin Chujio knew that she had to get Feng Ming's support, so she explained patiently. Chapter 162. There are treasures. A big secret? Feng Ming was suddenly energized. He patted his chest and said, "No problem. Leave it to me." "Thank you, senior brother Feng Ming," Yin Chujio said with a smile. "Okay. Then I'll go and tell Elder Huang now." Feng Ming turned around and was about to leave. "Wait, senior brother Feng Ming. You have to stay here and protect me. Write a note and get Little Black to send it." Yin Chujio pointed at the little black bird that was struggling to eat the steamed bun. Feng Ming said suspiciously, "Can it do it? This is just a young fire-breathing crow, right? It hasn't fully developed its intelligence yet. Would it be able to do its task well?" Little Black was immediately unhappy. Its bean-like eyes looked at Feng Ming with disdain. "Humph. This young master didn't even shun you for using a sledgehammer to crack a nut. You actually dare to doubt me? Isn't it just sending a letter? This young master can send a letter even with my eyes closed, okay?" Feng Ming felt as if he was hallucinating. From the eyes of Little Black, he could actually see disdain and ridicule. How could a low-level fire-breathing crow have such a human-like expression? Yin Chujio urged Feng Ming to write a note for Elder Huang, as she wrote a note for Yin Chuzi, before tying it to Little Black's claw. Little Black looked at Feng Ming with disdain, then flapped its short wings and flew away. After a while, the little black bird flapped its short wings and flew back to her. Feng Ming was amused. "Junior sister little Jio, I told you that this little black bird is unreliable, right? Look, it definitely couldn't find its way back, so it flew back again." Little Black's possessed eyes revealed a mocking expression as it cried out twice. Yin Chujio untied the note from the little black bird's leg. As expected, it was a reply from Old Huang and Yin Chuzi. "I really did it. And it's so fast. Is it really just a young fire-breathing crow?" Feng Ming was in disbelief. "Yes, it's a battle crow among fire-breathing crows," Yin Chujio said lightly, and continued to study the patterns on the stone. Feng Ming and Little Black were dumbfounded. What the hell was a battle crow? Yin Chujio did not have the time to bother with these two. She began to study the patterns on the green stone slab. It seemed that there was already a clue. Yin Chujio's speed of observation became faster and faster. Feng Ming's heart was like a cat scratching. What secret was hidden in the green stone slab? This square seemed to have existed for tens of thousands of years, and no one had noticed anything unusual. Could junior sister little Jio really have discovered something? The successive sect masters and elders had not discovered anything. Could it be that junior sister little Jio was even more powerful than them? Was that not too ridiculous? Junior sister little Jio did not even have spirit energy. Time passed bit by bit. It was unknown how the news had spread, but Master Xianyuan, the 5 peak masters, and some elders had all arrived at the square. Feng Ming was afraid that they would blame Yin Chujio, so he wanted to go forward and remind Yin Chujio to come over and greet them. Master Xianyuan waved his hand, indicating that he should not disturb Yin Chujio. Feng Ming's heart was in a mess. He did not know why things were getting out of hand. Was Master Xianyuan, the 5 peak masters, and the elders idle because there was nothing to fear for? What are they doing here in the middle of the night? Moreover, Master Xianyuan and the other peak masters were very excited. What was going on? Yin Chujio seemed to have been immersed in some mysterious realm, completely unaware of the arrival of the Master Xianyuan and the others. Yin Chujio suddenly raised her head to look at the sky, then ran to the side of a green stone slab and shouted excitedly, "Senior brother Feng Ming, quick, quick, pry open this green stone slab. There are treasures underneath." Chapter 163. A demonic barrier. Without waiting for Feng Ming to agree, Elder Chu leaped over. Where? What treasure is under there? Let me dig." Only then did Yin Chujio realize that Master Xianyuan and the others were there. Yin Chujio glared angrily at Feng Ming. "Fuck. I've been searching all night, and these people actually took advantage of me. I'm so wronged." Feng Ming rubbed his nose and thought to himself, each of these people is more powerful than the last. What would he dare to say? Elder Chu was already excitedly prying open the green stone slabs. These green stone slabs were all polished from 10,000-year-old southern jade, and each of them weighed more than 1,000 caddies. However, this was a piece of cake for Elder Chu. Hold on. The Southern Jade Square is the 10,000-year-old legacy of our Spirit Radiance sect. How can it be damaged just because of a little girl's nonsense? Xiao Pancher had always looked down on Yin Chujio. At this moment, his brows were tightly knitted together. Sect leader, Elder Xiao's words are not without reason. Yin Chujio is just an insignificant servant without any spiritual power, and she hasn't even entered the sect for a month. She really doesn't have much credibility. That's right. Over the past 10,000 years, our Spirit Radiance sect has produced many talents, but those heaven's favorites didn't discover anything. Could it be that a little girl like her could discover something? This is too ridiculous. That's right. We can't easily pry open this green stone slab. This is disrespectful to the ancestors of the past generations. Everyone was discussing animatedly. Most people felt that Yin Chujio was simply fooling around. Yin Chujio rolled her eyes. It would be better if they did not believe her. When the time came, she would quietly pry open the green stone slab, and the treasures would all belong to her alone. Elder Chu had a temperamental personality. He rolled his eyes and said, "Don't make everything sound so serious. It's not like you won't close it after prying open it. What can you do about it? Besides, what's wrong with this Tan girl? She has been staring at the green stone slab for half a night. Who would be able to mess around like that for half a night? Sect Master, what do you think we should do? I don't think the girl is messing around. There must be something down there." Master Xianyuan pondered for a moment before saying, "Let's pry it open. The founders won't blame us. It's time for the secret of 10,000 years to see the light of day again." Elder Chu exerted some force, and the thick and heavy green stone slab was slowly pried open. 2 more elders came over, and each held one side of the green stone slab. They lifted the green stone slab and gently placed it to the side. Everyone's gaze focused on the dark brown soil. The few elders began to dig, but they had already dug 6 feet deep, and they still had no results. Everyone could not help but feel a little discouraged. Elder Xiao and the others who opposed the idea revealed expressions of as expected. This was simply impossible. How could a little girl without spirit energy be more powerful than them? Was that not just a joke? Elder Chu was initially full of confidence, but as the hole was dug deeper and deeper, his heart began to beat faster. Could it be that the black girl was wrong? 6 feet, 9 feet, 10 feet. Even when it was 20 feet deep, there was still nothing. An elder curled his lips. "Sect Master, it's better to fill up the soil. There's simply nothing. This is a waste of time. Otherwise, when the sun rises, The disciples will take us as jokes. Master Xianyuan was also a little uncertain. Could it be that there really was nothing? Yun Chujio walked to the edge of the pit. She shouted toward the deep pit. Hey! Hurry up and get out. Otherwise, you can only play dead below. Don't you want to come out and see this colorful world? Don't you want to see all kinds of delicious food? Don't you want to see a magnificent beauty like me? Everyone's face froze. Was Yun Chujio possessed? What was the use of shouting? Were there any living things down there? Chapter 164. Must be an immortal artifact, junior sister little Jiao. Could it be that the thing below is alive? Feng Ming's eyes lit up as he asked Yun Chujio. I don't know either. However, I feel that even if a rolling pin is buried underground for 10,000 years, it should have gained sentience, right? Yun Chujio said casually. Everyone originally had high hopes, but after hearing Yun Chujio's words, they were instantly discouraged. It turned out that she was just spouting nonsense. Nonsense. This is simply nonsense. Do you think that things can just give birth to intelligence? What's more, a rolling pin? Nonsense. I told you, there won't be anything down there. Hurry up and fill up the soil. Although Yun Chujio has only entered the sect for a short period of time, she has caused a lot of trouble. She must be severely punished. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. Severely punished her? Fuck. You still dare to say that? Did I drag you here, or did I kidnap you? Don't you know what an uninvited guest is? You are. You really are shameless. Of course, these words were all secretly criticized by Yun Chujio. She did not have the courage to openly seek death. Just as everyone was discussing, the ground of the entire southern Jade Square began to tremble. A faint light could be seen from under the soil. Master Xianyuan was stunned for a moment before he shouted, Set up the formation. The 5 peak masters were the first to react. They sat down cross-legged in various directions. 6 streaks of spiritual energy shot into the sky, and a curtain of light enveloped the entire square. The 6 of them had set up a spirit radiance star formation. It could not only isolate the spiritual energy from leaking out, but it could also isolate the prying eyes of the outside world. Everyone was extremely excited. There really was a rare treasure. A treasure that had existed since 10,000 years ago must be an immortal item. The appearance of such a rare treasure would definitely cause an earth-shattering phenomenon. If others were to target it, it would be too much of a loss. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the brown soil. Yun Chujio's heart was especially excited and conflicted. She was excited because her guess was right. There was indeed a treasure down there. She was conflicted because there were so many hungry wolves guarding there. Even if there was a treasure, she would not be able to reap the benefits. She was so upset, she wanted to vomit blood. The ground was trembling more and more violently. The light emitted from the ground was so bright that people could hardly open their eyes. An immortal item. It must be an immortal item. Everyone was so excited that they were slightly trembling. How great of a blessing it was to be able to see an immortal item appearing in the world. At the moment when the light was at its peak, a streak of black light shot out from underground and flew straight into the sky. Fortunately, Master Xianyuan and the others had already set up the spirit radiance star formation. After that streak of black light crashed into the curtain of light, its speed slowed down for a moment before it struggled to escape. Seeing that the situation was not good, Master Xianyuan hurriedly shouted, Everyone, quickly lend a hand to the 6 of us. The elders, including Feng Ming, sat behind the 6 of them and transferred their spiritual power into the bodies of Master Xianyuan and the 5 peak masters with their arms. The spirit radiance star formation's curtain of light became more and more solid. After the black ray crashed into it a few times, it still could not escape. It could not help but dive down in a fluster, looking like it was going to kill someone. When the black ray rushed down, it realized that other than the people who set up the array, there was also a tan girl sitting on the green stone slab eating a bun. Beside her, there was an ugly bird pecking at the bun and eating it. It could not help but be a little dumbfounded. Actually, this matter was not bad. Yun Chujio was really heartless as she thought about it that way. The treasure did not belong to her, so why should she get involved? She still had 2 buns left from what Feng Ming had given her. So she ran to the side with Little Black to eat the buns. Chapter 165. This damn thing wants to kill me. The Black Ray felt that it had received a great insult. This human and this bird are looking down on me. Can't you see those idiots trying their best to trap me? Why are you still in the mood to eat buns? Are you that brave? In a fit of anger, the Black Ray headed toward Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio never expected that the Dark Ray would come toward her. And from the looks of it, it was going to kill her. Hence, she jumped up and out with a roar. Help! Help! It's trying to kill someone. This damn thing is going to kill me. Hurry up and save me. You were released by me, yet you repay kindness with enmity. You shameless bastard. You actually want to kill me. Am a good for nothing without any spiritual power. Don't you think that it would be unfair to kill me? Yin Chujio shouted as she fled across the square. The Dark Ray chased after her relentlessly, and seemed to have found some fun. It could have caught up to her in an instant, but it kept a distance that was neither too far nor too close to play with Yin Chujio. Master Xianyuan and the others were worried that Yin Chujio would be in trouble, but they were also afraid that the Dark Ray was luring the tiger away from the mountain. Once they withdrew their hands to save Yin Chujio, it would take the opportunity to break out of the Spirit Radiance star formation. Master Xianyuan frowned. Send 10 people to help Yin Chujio. Yin Chujio, who was running away with her head in her hands, could not help but feel a slight warmth in her heart. Although there were many dregs in the Spirit Radiance sect, Master Xianyuan was still not bad. When the Dark Ray saw that another 10 people had come to catch it, it did not care at all. It seemed to be even more excited, so everyone's faces stiffened as they watched the scene in front of them. The 10 elders jumped up and down to capture the ray. While the Dark Ray dodged, it continued to chase after Yin Chujio. After a full hour of commotion, Yin Chujio was furious. Fuck! You unspeakable thing. Don't you just want to kill me? Come and kill me. Even if I die, I won't spare you. I'll transform into a fierce ghost to pester you every day. Although Yin Chujio said so, all the spiritual power in her body was gathered in her right hand. Once the dark light really made a move, it would take the risk of revealing its secret to strike her. I don't believe that other than me and Little Black, there are still people who aren't afraid of being struck by lightning. The dark light clearly did not expect Yin Chujio to suddenly stop running, and even dare to threaten it. It hovered in front of Yin Chujio, seemingly wavering. At that moment, the 10 elders gathered around. The Black Ray seemed to be a little restless, and the light on its body dimmed a little. No one noticed that a white light that was as thin as a needle separated from the Black Ray's body and hid between Yin Chujio's brows. Yin Chujio was prepared to strike the Black Ray with lightning. Who would have thought that this thing could employ tricks? After the white light disappeared between Yin Chujio's brows, the Dark Ray completely dissipated and fell onto the green stone slab with a thud. It turned out to be a pitch-black short stick that was about 1.5 feet long. Elder Chu was the first to jump over and pick up the stick. Haha, I never thought that I'd be able to see an immortal weapon in this lifetime. No, that's not right. Why doesn't this black stick have any spiritual energy? It looks more like a rolling pin. What's going on? Everyone was shocked and gathered around. Master Xianyuan took the stick from Elder Chu and examined it carefully. He realized that it was just an ordinary stick made of black iron. What was going on? Everyone looked at each other in confusion. This stick was shining brightly before. How did it become a dull mortal artifact? Chapter 166. Yin Chujio. Everyone was dumbfounded, and only Yin Chujio was feeling proud of herself. She deserved it. I set to take advantage of this easy-to-obtain and highly rewarding situation. Who knew it was so easy for me? Although they did not know what was hidden between her eyebrows, it was definitely not simple. In the end, they were still doing her a favor. This feeling of everyone losing and me winning alone was too satisfying, okay? Although this fellow was feeling proud in her heart, she had an expression of disbelief on her face. Just now this stick was still chasing after me. How did it suddenly become a rolling pin? The corners of everyone's eyes twitched. Needless to say, Yin Chujio's words were quite appropriate. This stick was really not much different from a rolling pin. However, Everyone felt that something was strange. Just a moment ago, the stick was still awe-inspiring. How did it become a rolling pin in the next moment? Master Xianyuan looked at the sky. After all this trouble, the sun was starting to rise from the east. He frowned and said, "First, stick this stick with a confinement talisman, and then put it into the spirit tool pavilion. We'll investigate when we have time." Master Xianyuan paused at this point and looked at Yin Chujio. There was a conflicted expression on his face, as if there were some words that he could not say. Everyone was puzzled. What was wrong with the sect master? Feng Ming was shocked. Could it be that the sect master was going to blame junior sister Little Jio? Yin Chujio's heart also sank. If the sect master really wanted to punish her, she would say that she was not the one who pried up the green stone slab, and that she was not the one who dug up the soil. What right did he have to punish her? Right. If he wanted to punish her, he would say so. Master Xianyuan pondered for a long time before finally continuing. When the successive leaders of the Spirit Radiance sect passed on the throne, they would pass on a verbal order from the founder of the Spirit Radiance sect, Patriarch Linghua. That is, if any of the Linghua disciples were to discover the secret of the Southern Jade Square, that person would be his successor disciple. After Master Xianyuan finished speaking, there was no reaction from the crowd for a long time. They understood every word that the sect leader said. However, they could not put two and two together. Suddenly, Feng Ming cried out in surprise. "Heavens! Sect leader! Do you mean that junior sister Little Jio is now the personal disciple of our Spirit Radiance sect's founder, Patriarch Linghua?" Master Xianyuan smiled bitterly and nodded. Boom! The elders finally reacted. They could not believe their ears. Elder Chu counted with his fingers. "We are the 10th generation disciples of the Spirit Radiance sect. If the Tan girl is the personal disciple of the founder, then she is the 2nd generation disciple. We can't even be considered as great-great-grandchildren. Sect master, are you kidding me?" Xiao Pan's old face turned red. He could not accept the fact that this Tan girl, who did not have any spiritual power, had suddenly become an elder, with an extremely high seniority. Master Xianyuan smiled bitterly and nodded. For a moment, he also wanted to hide this verbal order, but he decided against it. Patriarch Linghua must have had his reasons for doing so. Yin Chujio's heart was practically bubbling with joy. What did it mean to become rich overnight? What did it mean to have a piece of pie falling from the sky? What did it mean to walk a dog, it defecating and having luck fall into your arms? Ha ha ha. She, Yin Chujio, was finally going to stand out and glorify her ancestors. All of you scums tremble. This fellow had long since selectively forgotten that it was not her who pried up the stone slab, and that it was not her who dug up the soil. The 10th generation sect master of the Spirit Radiance sect, Xianyuan Changkong, greets Master Yin. Master Xianyuan respectfully bowed to Yin Chujio. When the others saw Master Xianyuan did that, although they were not convinced, they did not dare to be negligent. "Greeting Master Yin." Cough cough. Yin Chujio coughed dryly. "Everyone, children, please stand up." Chapter 167. As long as this little ancestor agrees, children. Children, the corners of everyone's mouths twitched, and the blue veins on the foreheads of some of the short-tempered elders bulged. This was simply absurd, too absurd. When they thought about how they would have to bow and greet the Tan girl every time they saw her in the future, the elders were on the verge of breaking down. Sect master, although this is the verbal instruction of the founding ancestor, everything has to be flexible. Not only is Yin Chujio young and inexperienced, the most important thing is that she doesn't have any spirit energy at all. If the other sects were to know that our Spirit Radiance sect has such an ancestor, they would definitely laugh their heads off. That's right. Even if Yin Chujio's spiritual power isn't high, we can use pills and spiritual stones to increase her cultivation level. However, she can't cultivate at all. She's like mud that can't be supported by a wall. Sect leader, if it really doesn't work, we can give Yin Chujio some other compensation, such as inner sect disciples and spiritual stones. If there really is such a little ancestor, we won't be able to hold our heads up when we go out. Yin Chujio secretly pursed her lips. Did they think she was stupid? No matter how many spirit stones there were, how could they compare to the position of the grand retired emperor of the Spirit Radiance sect? She was definitely going to be the little ancestor. Little Xian Yuan, since everyone is so unconvinced, then let's just forget about it. There's no need to give me any spirit stones as compensation. Let's just pretend that nothing happened. In any case, Master Linghua won't come to your dreams in the middle of the night to scold you, nor will he send down some heavenly punishment to punish unfilial disciples. It's really nothing, Yin Chujio said with her small hands behind her back. She did not care. Little Xianyuan? Master Zuanyuan's face stiffened. This title seemed to date back to when he was a child hundreds of years ago. This little girl was really a trickster. It was obvious that she was taking a step back in order to advance. Master Xianyuan was in a difficult position. He could not disobey Master Linghua's verbal order, but most of the elders present had a strong sense of resistance. If he got Yin Chujio to take the position of little ancestor, she probably would not be able to convince the public. What should he do? Sect Master, although we can't disobey the verbal orders of Patriarch Linghua, this matter has been going on for 10,000 years. Even the Patriarch wouldn't have thought that the person who would discover the secret 10,000 years later would be a little girl without spiritual power. Why don't we compromise? If Yin Chujio can be ranked in the top 10 in the new disciple trial 1 year later, then we'll acknowledge her identity as the little ancestor Yin. If she can't be ranked, then we'll give her a spot as an inner disciple. We'll let her peacefully spend the rest of her life in our Spirit Radiance sect, Elder Xiao said with a frown. As soon as Elder Xiao finished speaking, the elders who held opposing opinions expressed their agreement. Sect Master, Elder Xiao's idea isn't bad. We also think that this is a good way to handle it. These elders thought to themselves. Yin Chujio, a good-for-nothing without any spirit energy, wanted to be ranked in the top 10. That was simply wishful thinking. This way, they could not only shut her mouth, but also prevent Spirit Radiance sect from becoming a laughingstock. It was truly a very good idea. Master Xianyuan frowned. Getting into the top 10 within a year was clearly just to make things difficult for Yin Chujio. It was simply impossible for Yin Chujio to achieve. Just as Master Xianyuan was about to say something, Yin Chujio spoke. Little Xianyuan, you don't have to make things difficult for me. I will agree to it. When the time comes, this little ancestor will definitely make you completely convinced. However, little Xianyuan, you have to agree to 3 additional conditions. Little ancestor, please speak. Master Xianyuan was truly speechless. This little girl had entered the character too quickly, right? Always thinking of herself as little ancestor. Her skin was extraordinarily thick. Chapter 168. 3 conditions. The first condition is that I can enter and leave the sect's library as I please. The second condition is that the rolling pin belongs to me. The third condition is that you give me a gold medal to exempt me from death. Yin Chujio said with a smile. Everyone thought that Yin Chujio would ask for spirit stones or medicinal pills, but they did not expect her to raise such 3 conditions. The first condition was not a big deal, but the second and third conditions were a bit trickier to deal with. Although that black stick looked like an ordinary stick now, how could the thing left behind by Patriarch Linghua just be an ordinary thing? As for the third condition, it was even more ridiculous. If Yin Chujio betrayed the sect, then with the so-called get-out-of-jail-free token would come to her aid. Would that not allow one to do whatever they wanted? Master Xianyuan pondered for a moment. Little ancestor Yin, I can agree to these 3 conditions, but I also have 3 conditions. Little Xianyuan speak. Yin Chujio said nonchalantly, but inwardly, she cursed at the old fox. First, before your identity is officially confirmed, I hope that little ancestor Yin will not reveal anything to anyone. Of course, no one here will leak this matter, and everything will be the same as before. Little ancestor Yin is still a servant of our Spirit Radiance sect. Master Zuanyuan's words were deeply appreciated by Elder Xiao and the others. When they thought of bowing to such a little girl, they almost broke down. Yin Chujio nodded. Sect leader, I agree to this condition. When Master Xianyuan saw that Yin Chujio immediately entered the role, he could not help but think highly of Yin Chujio in his heart. Then he said, "Second, our Spirit Radiance sect doesn't have the so-called death exemption token. However, as the sect leader, I promise you that as long as you don't do anything that betrays the sect, I can exempt you from a punishment." Yin Chujio rolled her eyes. "I also agree to this condition. Thirdly, if the sect is in danger, little ancestor Yin, please consider the bigger picture and help us." As soon as Master Xianyuan finished speaking, everyone's faces froze. "Sect leader, have you been kicked in the head by a spirit beast? How could such a useless snack without spirit energy help them?" The crowd looked at Yin Chujio again, and was even more furious. They saw Yin Chujio touching her chin and lowering her head in deep thought, as if she was really considering whether to agree to this condition. They thought to themselves that they had seen thick-skinned people, but they had never seen such a shameless person. Yin Chujio thought for a moment and then said seriously, "Well, as your elder, if it doesn't hurt my life, I will help you." Everyone was so angry that they almost fainted. "Yin Chujio, do you still have any sense of shame? Who do you think you are? You dug out a broken stick, and you really became a genius from that thrash you were? You really think you've become the thigh of Spirit Radiance sect? You even said that if it didn't harm your life, then you would help. You really think too highly of yourself. Even if we were beaten to death, we wouldn't ask for your help." The corner of Master Xuanyuan's eyes twitched. The reason why he mentioned this condition was just in case. After all, Grandmaster Linghua would not leave such a verbal order for no reason. However, no matter how he looked at it, Yin Chujio did not seem like a person who could save Spirit Radiance sect from danger. Alright, since that's the case, then according to what Elder Xiao said, if little ancestor Yin can be ranked in the top 10 in the new disciple trials in a year's time, then we will acknowledge your identity as little ancestor Yin. If you can't be ranked, we'll also give you a spot as an inner disciple. We'll pretend that what happened today never happened. Master Xianyuan announced his final decision. Chapter 169. Little Noodle or Little Stick. Yin Chujio took the black stick and carried it with a valiant spirit. Yes, she carried it away. Fuck. Why is this damn broken stick so heavy? Yin Chujio used all her strength to barely carry it, and staggered away with the stick. Master Xianyuan and the others looked at Yin Chujio's back, and the corners of their eyes twitched. No matter how they looked at this Yin Chujio, it just didn't make sense. Could Patriarch Linghua have made a mistake? A few elders filled the soil back in, and then carefully covered the green stone slab on it again. Seeing that there were no traces left, they all dispersed. Feng Ming was stunned for a long time, before he also left in a daze. Yin Chujio cursed as she walked. Fuck. I'm just looking for trouble for myself. Such a broken stick is not only useless, it's also so heavy. I might as well throw it here. After saying that, Yin Chujio actually threw the black stick on the ground, and then hopped toward the dormitory. After Yin Chujio walked for a distance, Little Black cried out in alarm. Master! Master! Quickly turn around. The stick has become a spirit. The stick has become a spirit. Yin Chujio was already mentally prepared. She turned around and saw the black stick jumping toward her. Yin Chujio curled her lips. If you want to follow me and have a good life, then stop being so narrow-minded. Otherwise, I'll give you to little Xianyuan, and have him lock you in the Spirit Tool Pavilion, so that you can sleep all day. The stick leaned forward a few times, as if it was nodding. Yin Chujio said with disdain, It's fine if you look ugly, but you're overweight. Hurry up and become lighter. Otherwise you can hop behind me. The black stick paused for a moment, and then flew into Yin Chujio's hand. The corner of Yin Chujio's mouth curled up. It was indeed much lighter. At least you're sensible. Don't worry, Master. One day, I'll let you regain your former glory, and become the #1 rolling pin in the world. The black stick trembled a few times, and then stopped moving. Yes, Master. I have to give you a good name. Let me think. Yin Chujio held the stick with one hand, and touched her chin with the other. Little Black looked at the black stick sympathetically. With the Master's level of naming, the name she gave would not be any better. Actually, it's not bad for you to be called Little Black, but it's a pity that Little Black already has this name. Let me think again. Yes, I have it. You shall be called Little Flame. The black stick trembled even more violently. Yin Chujio narrowed her eyes. What? You don't like the name Little Flame? Then do you want to be called Little Noodle or Little Stick? The trembling of the black stick suddenly stopped. Yin Chujio nodded her head in satisfaction. That's right. A wise man submits to circumstances. You shouldn't try to go against my authority. Otherwise, you'll only end up in an even worse situation. Little Black, I'll leave Little Flame's education to you from now on. Little Black agreed very happily. Although it was only a stick, this little lord also had a little brother. Yin Chujio took the stick and brought Little Black back to the dormitory. As it was early in the morning, they did not meet many people along the way. Although everyone was puzzled as to why Yin Chujio was jumping around with a rolling pin, no one went forward to ask. Yin Chujio jumped to the dormitory and muttered, Anyway, I've applied for leave, so don't waste it. I can use this time to catch up on my sleep. After washing up, she took off her coat and lay on the bed. Not long after, she fell asleep. Yin Chujio let out a light snore. A white light sneakily shot out from between Yin Chujio's brows and went straight for the black stick that was placed at the door. Chapter 170. The wolf in sheep's clothing. Just as the white light was about to reach the black stick, Little Black flew over from the side and threw a purple fireball at the white light. The white light obviously did not expect Little Black to be able to release spiritual power, and it was a fireball with the power of lightning. In a hurry, it wanted to hide between Yin Chujio's eyebrows again. Unexpectedly, Yin Chujio, who was supposed to be sleeping, suddenly sat up and shot a bolt of lightning at it. The white light was shocked. Was it because it had been sleeping for too long? Why could a young fire-breathing crow shoot out a fireball with the power of thunder and lightning? Why could a trash without spiritual power shoot thunder and lightning? Plus, it was purple. Yin Chujio finally saw the true appearance of the white light. It was a very small silver dragon with gleaming scales, which made it look like white light. Are you the spirit of the rolling pin? Yin Chujio covered her brows with one hand and prepared to attack with the other. The silver dragon raised its neck and opened its mouth to speak in the soft voice of a little girl. That's right. Why aren't you bowing when you see a senior? Little Wawa's disciples and grand disciples are getting worse. Yin Chujio was shocked. You're a female? This sentence seemed to have touched the little silver dragon's sore spot. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it shouted, So what if I'm a female? You're female too. Yin Chujio's heart was intrigued and she probed. Could it be that it's because you're a female that Patriarch Linghua buried you under the stone? How did you know? The little silver dragon was obviously shocked. I figured so. Could it be that ancestral master Linghua was afraid that after a long period of time, he would develop feelings for you and fall in love with you? That's why he simply buried you under the green stone slab and waited for me to appear? Yin Chujio's mind was wide open as she spoke with great joy. You're talking nonsense. Little Huahua isn't that kind of improper person. It's just that I'm Yin, and little Huahua is yang, so I can't unleash my full power. Moreover, my body is a rod, and little Huahua uses a sword. So before I ascended, he buried me under the green stone slab, waiting for the fated person. The silver dragon glared at Yin Chujio, obviously very dissatisfied with her arrangement of the former master. Little Flame, you're wrong to say that. It's natural for men and women to love each other. How is that impolite? Don't worry. I'll definitely find a male rolling pin for you in the future, so that you two can pair up. Yin Chujio winked at the little white dragon. Little Flame? Humph. This rod has a name. It is the ninth heaven silver dragon wind fire rod, not something vulgar like Little Flame. Chapter 171. The man in red. Yin Chujio looked at the small silver dragon with a faint smile. What do we want? Were you released by me? Or did you avoid falling into the demon's claws because of me? Yet you're repaying kindness with enmity. At that time, you wanted to shoot me to death. But later on, you wanted to use me. Tell me, Don't you think you've tarnished the reputation of those in the rod world? Do you have the face of a rod and the heart of a beast? Do you really not care about your reputation? The little silver dragon had obviously never encountered such a situation before. Its head immediately drooped down, and its claws twitched. Right, I'm sorry. I just don't want to lose my freedom. Freedom? Only those who are strong enough have freedom. Even if you had rushed out of the Spirit Radiance sect at that time. Do you think that you'd have freedom? Anyone who cultivates with a divine weapon like yours will fight over it, until their head breaks and blood flows. Otherwise, why would my master bury you? Isn't it because he's afraid of causing a bloodbath because of you? Yin Chujio said with a serious expression. The silver dragon kept nodding. What you said makes sense. Then, how can I become stronger? You definitely can't do it like this. Otherwise, why is it that you've been buried underground for 10,000 years, but still can't break through Little Xianyuan and the other Spirit Radiance star formation? However, I do have a way to make you stronger. Yin Chujio stopped speaking at this point. The little silver dragon urged anxiously. What way? Tell me. Sigh. You might not believe me even if I tell you. So it's better not to say it. Forget it, little black. You should step aside and let little flame go out to explore. It's not a big deal. At most, it'll just be kept as a weapon. Of course, there might also be someone who felt that the material of this rod was not bad, and put it back into the crafting furnace to forge a new weapon. When that time comes, little flame, you'll be completely free, Yin Chujio said indifferently. The little silver dragon was scared to tears. Sob. Don't. If I enter the crafting furnace, I'll die. Then I won't be me anymore. I beg you, quickly tell me the way. Sigh, I'm just a soft-hearted person. Alright, seeing that you're so pitiful, I'll forget about the past and help you. Actually, the best way is for me to reluctantly accept you as a weapon. Firstly, I'm a low-key person, so no one will suspect that I'm holding a good weapon. Secondly, you also know that I hold a position similar to that of the retired emperor in the Spirit Radiance star formation sect. When the time comes, if I have any good things, it'll naturally come first. And when the time comes, it'll get some heavenly and earthly treasures to supplement you. Wouldn't your cultivation level go up? Third. As you have seen, Little Black and I are both great geniuses that rarely appear in 10,000 years. As the saying goes, you are the product of your environment. If you follow us, how can you not be powerful? Fourth, I'm the kindest person. I definitely won't mistreat you. In the future, I might even find you a male rod. When the time comes, you'll cultivate into human form and make a few more small rods. What a beautiful thing. Fifthly, I'm the disciple of the little Hua that you mentioned. In the future, when I ascend, you can still meet your little Hua. Yin Chujio's smile was very gentle, as if a spring breeze had completely fooled the innocent little silver dragon. The little silver dragon said excitedly, All right, I'll acknowledge you as my master. Let's form a contract. Yin Chujio showed a forced expression. All right, then you better hurry up, lest I regret it later. When the silver dragon heard that, it quickly rushed into the body of the black staff. Then, Yin Chujio bit her middle finger and dripped blood on the top of the black staff. After Yin Chujio did as she was told, a ray of dark light shot through the roof of Yin Chujio's house and into the sky. Success! Although the dark light was dazzling, fortunately, it only lasted for a short moment, so it did not attract anyone's attention. Those who saw it thought that their eyes were blurred. However, in the clouds, there happened to be an air transportation spiritual tool passing by. The decorations inside were extremely luxurious. Other than the man who controlled the air transportation spiritual tool, there was a red-clothed man lying on the soft couch. His long black hair was casually scattered behind him, and he was playing with a skull in his hand. It was obviously an extremely terrifying thing, but when the man did it, it made people feel that it was pleasing to the eye. He was as lazy as a painting. After the man in red saw the flash of black ray, the corners of his mouth curled up. An immortal tool acknowledging its master? Interesting. Chapter 172. Rolling Pin. Young Master, shall we go down and take a look? The man controlling the air transportation spiritual tool asked for instructions. No need. The main business is more important. Come to the Spirit Radiance sect again when you have time. The red-clothed man exerted a little strength in his hand, and the skull in his hand turned into powder. Then a new skull appeared in his hand. Yin Chujio did not know that she had already been targeted by someone. At that moment, she had a look of despair on her face. When Yin Chujio saw that she had successfully formed the contract, she did not have the time to praise herself in her heart when she saw the rolling pin dancing in the room. Little Flame, we've already formed the contract. Shouldn't you reveal your true form? Yin Chujio asked the rolling pin expectantly. Master, this is my true form. How awe-inspiring. The rolling pin flew a few rounds in front of Yin Chujio smugly. Yin Chujio looked at the 1.5-foot-long rolling pin. Although there was a dark light flashing around her, she really could not consider it awe-inspiring. She coughed dryly and asked, Little Flame, didn't you say that you're the 9th heaven silver dragon wind fire rod? Shouldn't your true form be very awe-inspiring? The rolling pin paused in midair for a moment. Then it turned its body longer and longer. Master, is that what you mean? I can turn into a very long form. Does that mean you change the length of your body whenever you want? Yin Chujio looked at Xiaohua expectantly. Of course I can. However, I can only unleash my full power when I transform into my true form. Yin Chujio was so angry that she began to twitch. If she could not unleash her full power, it would be useless even if she turned into a telephone pole. She finally understood why Ancestral Master Linghua did not care about using this so-called immortal artifact. It was too damn embarrassing. A vivid image immediately appeared in front of Yin Chujio's eyes. On the dueling platform, the other party took out a majestic large saber, and then she took out a rolling pin. Just thinking about it made her embarrassed. However, Yin Chujio changed her mind. The rolling pin also had the advantage of a rolling pin. At the very least, it could make the other party underestimate the opponent. Moreover, no one would have thought that a rolling pin was a so-called immortal artifact. Alright, then you can maintain this state. However, when you're outside, you have to hide the dark light, so as not to attract other people's attention. Yin Chujio's ability to accept things was quick, so she decided to let the rolling pin be. After Yin Chujio successfully abducted the rolling pin, she yawned twice. You two play, I'll catch up on my sleep. Yin Chujio fell asleep very quickly. Chapter 173. Gluttonous Snake Cough Cough. Little Flame, stop. Although Little Black's words aren't pleasant to hear, I'm also very curious. How are you going to eat? Yin Chujio held back her laughter and asked the rolling pin. The small silver dragon floated out from the rolling pin. Master, I'm the one eating, not my main body. Yin Chujio felt that this was more like it. However, how much could such a small dragon eat? One bun was probably enough for it to eat several meals. However, after 15 minutes, Yin Chujio was no longer calm. What the fuck? What kind of dragon was this? It was simply a gluttonous snake. Although the small silver dragon was small in size, it was very gluttonous. It had already eaten 10 buns, but it actually did not have the slightest intention of being full. Cough cough. Little Flame, although this bun tastes good, eating too much will cause indigestion. Master, I've been hungry for 10,000 years. Can't you let me have a full meal? The silver dragon said aggrievedly. Yin Chujio touched her nose. Alright, forget I said anything. At worst, she could just go to the big kitchen and borrow food. The silver dragon finally expressed that it was full before Yin Chujio collapsed. Little Black said disdainfully. No wonder it looks like a rolling pin. It turns out that it's a good-for-nothing. The silver dragon returned to Little Flame's body with a whoosh, and smacked the little black bird. Yin Chujio knew that nothing would really happen to the two of them, so she ignored them, and went back to the house to clean up the mess. Although the fireball and the lightning that Little Black shot out were controlled, they still inevitably made a mess in the house. She was lucky that the house didn't burn down. Junior sister Little Jiao, are you home? Feng Ming's voice came from outside the courtyard. Senior brother Feng Ming, I'm here. Come in quickly. Yin Chujio replied and left the house. Feng Ming saw Yin Chujio, and scratched his head unnaturally. Well, little ancestor Yin, can I continue to call you junior sister little Jiu? Yin Chuzhou bared her teeth. We're one and the same. You'll always be my senior brother Feng Ming. Feng Ming chuckled. I knew that junior sister isn't the kind of person who sticks to etiquette. The sect leader asked me to tell you something. If anyone asks about what happened last night, you can say that. Yin Chuzhou nodded repeatedly. She thought to herself, Master Xianyuan is indeed an old fox. How cunning. Not long after Feng Ming left, Yin Chuzi and the others came back from work. Everyone went straight to Yin Chujia's courtyard. Little Jiu, are you all right? What did you find in the square? Yin Chulu could not hide his words. The moment he entered the courtyard, he started shouting, I'm fine. I'm fine. I just found a few green stone slabs with very tiny holes. Senior brother Feng Ming has already reported it to the sect leader. The sect leader has already sent someone to repair it, and he even gave me permission to enter the library to read books in the future. Yin Chuzhou told her what Feng Ming had told her. Really, that's great. I told you that our little Jiu is smart. She definitely won't be in a daze on the square for no reason. Yin Chu's face was full of pride. Jingxi looked at Yin Chuzhou suspiciously. Little Jiu, why would the very tiny holes on the green stone slabs alert the sect leader? Jingxi, you don't know this. The Southern Jade Square was built by the founder of our Spirit Radiance sect, Patriarch Linghua. Naturally, there shouldn't be any damage. Those tiny holes were created by a type of stone-eating ant. If we don't take action soon, the entire Southern Jade Square will be destroyed. Yin Chuzhou said nonsense with a straight face. Chapter 174. Yin Chujia's method with Yin Chujia's explanation. Everyone nodded their heads. No wonder the sect leader rewarded little Jiu. Little Jiu had indeed made a great contribution. Yin Chuzi took out the dinner that he had brought for Yin Chuzhou from his storage bag. Yin Chuzhou took it with a smile. Everyone chatted for a while more before Yin Chuzi and the others left. Yin Chuzhou saw the rolling pin flying toward the stone table and quickly put the food into her storage ring. The rolling pin awkwardly turned around and went to play with Little Black. Yin Chuzhou cursed in her heart. She did not know how good this rolling pin was, but it was truly a foodie. The next day, the news of Yin Chuzhou receiving the reward spread throughout the entire Spirit Radiance sect. Everyone felt that Yin Chuzhou had really lucked out. One had to know that the access to the library was limited according to one's status. Servant disciples could only borrow books on the first level. But this Yin Chuzhou had suddenly obtained the same access as the elders. It was really enviable. Those who came to the cafeteria to eat could not help but say a few words of jealousy. Fortunately, Yin Chuzhou was a big-hearted person. One could say whatever they wanted to say, and she would just ignore you. When everyone saw that Yin Chuzhou was not affected by it, it became pointless to talk about it. After a few days, no one brought it up anymore. Yin Chuzhou was a little troubled. Although she had access to the library, she did not have the time. She had 3 meals a day, and sometimes she had to cook supper. How could she have the time to read books? Hence, this fellow started thinking. One day, when everyone was having lunch, Yin Chuzhou walked to Elder Huang and said seriously, Elder Huang, I have a suggestion. I don't know if it's appropriate. Elder Huang smiled. What suggestion? Just say it. Elder Huang, why are the staff in the big kitchen not welcomed? Yin Chuzhou asked curiously. Elder Huang's face was very awkward. Yin Chu quickly tugged at Yin Chujia's sleeve. Yin Chuzhou winked at her. Sigh, our spiritual power is too low. That's why it's like this. Elder Huang sighed. Then why is our spiritual power too low? Yin Chuzhou continued to ask. This time, without waiting for Elder Huang to speak, Ho Tian said. Firstly, our aptitude is not as good as the others. Secondly, we are busy all day. How will we have time to cultivate? Yin Chuzhou snapped her fingers. That's right. The crux of the problem lies here. There might be some slight differences in aptitude, but the crux is that we don't have time to cultivate. If we have the time and the correct cultivation method, I believe that our Middle Peak kitchen isn't inferior to anyone from any department. Mei Li said in a muffled voice. Little girl, do you even need to say that? The main thing is that we really don't have time to cultivate. If we cook any meal too late, it would be bad. Yin Chuzhou bared her little white teeth. Elder Huang. Everyone. I have a good idea. It won't delay work, but it can also free up time for us to cultivate. What idea? Everyone's eyes lit up as they looked at Yin Chuzhou with hope. Yin Chuzhou straightened her small body and said with her hands behind her back, although some words may not sound good on the surface, I have to say it today. Although everyone is working, it's inevitable that there will be times when they are sneaky and cunning. Why is that? When Yin Chuzhou said that, some people could not help but feel a little guilty. Everyone was lazy at some point, and sometimes it was inevitable that they would be lazy. This is because of the big pot of rice. To put it bluntly, it's just to make up the numbers. No matter how much you do, it will be the same. My method is to divide us into 3 groups and work in turns. Bei Yuan was the first to react. Little Jiao, you mean that one group can work while the other 2 groups can cultivate? That's right. That's exactly what I mean. This way, everyone can rest for 2 days after a day of work. Of course, if everyone's enthusiasm is aroused, they can also be divided into 4 groups and 5 groups. Then everyone will have more time to rest. What do you think of my idea? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.